Okay, so all of the Switch stuff has died down a little bit. The presentation's over. We've gotten a crap ton of information. People have already played the Switch. So today I've compiled a list of things that I am personally really excited about, but also really nervous / scared about for the Nintendo Switch. Now, I've seen online that a good portion of you are excited about the system, but there are, of course, a good amount of people that think that what Nintendo showed us with the Switch is going to be a failure. So I figured instead of just picking and choosing if I think this is going to be a success or not, I personally think that the Switch has a possibility of still being a success. I am going to be talking about the good and the bad that has come out. So to start things off on a good light, Breath of the Wild is confirmed as a launch title. A lot of people were saying that, they really thought it was going to be one, which is it's now officially confirmed. March 3rd, that's the date that the Switch is coming out. It's a lot earlier than all of us thought, because people were thinking that the Switch is going to come out either March 10th or like March 17th, something along the lines of there. But March 3rd is the official date. We're getting Breath of the Wild as the launch title, which is fantastic. It's a game that's been in development for such a long time now, a couple of years. I remember them talking about it in 2015, and finally it's going to be coming out. So that's going to be a huge system seller for Nintendo. Like pretty much every Zelda fan I know is going to be getting Breath of the Wild. Like 98% of them Switch, 2% on the Wii U. I know that one person, I'm looking at you, Jacob, going to get Breath of the Wild on the Wii U and not a Switch. I don't know what you're thinking, but okay, you know what? You do you. Anyway, we also got the price point, $300. Now, that's not too bad. I think overall the price is good. I do wish we were getting some sort of demo game or any sort of game at all with the system, but we are getting a lot. The system comes with the tablet, of course, 2 Joy-Con controllers, the dock, there's the Joy-Con grip, so we are getting quite a bit for $300, but unfortunately no games. Now, I'm not going to be covering every single detail because I'm sure you guys have already seen the presentation or seen a lot of videos recapping all the details, but one that I'm very excited about that I wanted to mention was that USB-C will be used for charging. This is fantastic because Nintendo is no longer using a very special exclusive cable for charging. Now, if anyone has just a USB-C cable lying around, they can just use that to charge their tablet, which is really, really cool to see that they're using technology that's much more accessible to people. And another thing that's awesome is the Joy-Con controllers themselves. I mean, the tech inside these controllers is amazing. Of course, they have the usual buttons, the joypads or whatever, I forget the official name, joysticks, whatever. They're clickable, which is nice. They have the 2 shoulder buttons. If you're using them sideways, they also have shoulder buttons on the sides. I didn't think we were going to get something like that. There's gyro features, there's HD Rumble, which apparently, according to people testing out the Switch recently, the HD Rumble works really well. It, I guess, improves the Rumble experiences. So there is so much technology packed into these controllers. Now, we'll talk about the sizing of the controllers a bit later, because they do look a little small, but from what people have said that have tried them, they said it's surprisingly comfortable to play, so that's pretty neat. And Nintendo's also announced a decent amount of good hits coming. Of course, Breath of the Wild's coming launch day. We're going to have Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in April, which I don't know how well that's going to sell because Mario Kart 8 was the best-selling Wii U game, so a lot of people have already played most of the content in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, unless there's new courses that Nintendo just hasn't showed us yet. If there's new courses, improved battle mode, new characters, then Mario Kart 8 Deluxe could sell very well. That's coming out April 28th. We're of course getting Splatoon 2 over the summer, which is, I'm sure, going to be another huge title for them, and Mario Odyssey in the holidays, again, another really big title for them. I do wish that Mario and Zelda are both coming out on launch day, but I understand if they want to put out holidays, that's fine. And a few other titles that I have listed that are not as big of hits, but are still a pretty big deal. Of course, Xenoblade 2, ARMS potentially. I know a lot of people are making fun of the ARMS, just the name itself, and the motion controls, but it's been confirmed for ARMS that you will be able to use traditional controls, which is good. There's also, of course, going to be Skyrim coming in the fall. Fire Emblem Warriors, we don't know very much about that. Could be another big one. And then Street Fighter 2 Ultimate Edition. So there are a decent amount of games coming to the Switch in 2017, and keep in mind, there might be more games announced that we just don't know about. There are other games that I didn't list that you might also be excited for, but there's also probably going to be more games announced, hopefully more for launch day and more coming throughout the rest of 2017 that we just don't know about yet. So there's still a possibility that there could be other big hits that Nintendo just hasn't revealed to us yet. Another really cool thing is that you can link 8 systems locally. Okay, and this was also mentioned in the presentation, but really just thinking about that, I mean, that's never technically been done for a console before, aside from like LAN play. Like wireless play, we've never really seen that for a console. I mean, imagine playing Mario Kart 8 with 8 other people all in the same room, all with their own Nintendo Switch console. I mean, that just sounds amazing. That makes me want to go to game conventions and play some Mario Kart 8 with people. Like, that just sounds so cool. And with Smash Bros, of course, we're going to get some Smash Bros. Like, I love that Nintendo is, of course, embracing online a bit more, but they're even embracing local play even more than usual. Like, 8 people for 8, you can connect 8 people. That's crazy. And Nintendo also announced that online lobbies are happening. There's going to be a free trial starting off. You're going to have to pay some sort of fee starting in fall. Don't know how much that's going to be. It's probably not going to be that much. And with these online features, of course, we'll be able to invite friends to play with us. We'll be able to set up play appointments according to Nintendo's website. And there's going to be voice chat. Now, I thought it was really funny that Nintendo said play appointments. And my guess is what that is you can set up specific times and days when you're going to play a certain game with somebody, which I thought was really funny. I mean, usually when people want to play video games, it's on the spot. I mean, I guess not all the time, but like with people online, it's like, you know, if you see a friend online and you have nothing else to do, it's usually just you invite them to play and then you play for a little bit. I mean, it's a little weird, but you know what? I guess it's kind of a cool thing that they're doing that, so. Another really cool thing, I don't care too much about this, but it is a pretty big deal, is region locking is no longer a thing for the Switch, where you will be able to buy games from other parts of the world. It's not just region exclusive, so that is actually a pretty big deal for people, especially people that like collect games. So anyone that wants Japan exclusive games or European exclusive games and live in North America or vice versa will finally be able to do that very easily. And this is just a small tidbit. We saw this in the presentation in one of the game trailers, but the Switch runs Unreal Engine 4, and that is another really, really great thing to see. So the fact that the Switch can run a game engine, Unreal Engine 4, something that powerful, is a really good sign that the Switch, if it does end up performing well, we could really start to see bigger third-party titles come to the Switch. Hey, what if we got like Red Dead 2? Or we start getting Call of Duty again? That would be really, really good. Of course, a bunch of other titles, third-party titles I didn't even bring up. But there is a lot of potential to see that the Switch looks to be powerful enough to run really big third-party games. So yeah, those are all the things that I am very excited about for the Switch. But now, of course, we should also talk about the things that I am worried about. And there are a lot of things to be worried about for the Switch. And we'll start off with the Joy-Con controllers. Now, as I said, it is a great piece of technology for everything that's in those controllers. There's a lot of things I didn't even mention that are in the controllers. But what's really worrisome is when you're playing with someone, if you're playing a 2-player game and you're both using one Joy-Con controller to play, it does look like it could be uncomfortable for extended periods of time. Now, the thing is, this is something that nobody is really going to know if this is a problem or not until we get our hands on the system. I'm really worried that the controllers are too small or the shape's going to feel really weird, so I'm not sure how that's all going to work. And one of the biggest things that I'm worried about is that there are not enough launch titles. Now again, Breath of the Wild is huge. That is a fantastic game to start off the Switch. But what if someone doesn't care for Zelda? Like, I'm not the biggest fan of Zelda, but I'm really excited for this one. I already pre-ordered Breath of the Wild. But what if someone isn't interested in Zelda at all? I mean, let's see what else there is. There's Super Bomberman R, which I guess if you're a Bomberman fan, that's pretty cool. That'll be a good launch game to get. There's 1-2 Switch. That's pretty questionable. I don't know what that even was. I can't wait to make a triggered video on that. Anyway, there's also Skylanders Imaginators and Just Dance 2017. 5 launch titles is what they've confirmed so far. Now, I have a feeling there are going to be more launch titles, but the thing is, I feel like the additional launch titles that they're going to be announcing are going to be indie games that nobody has ever really heard of, or they're going to be just games that no one really cares about, and that's really worrisome. I really hope that Nintendo is saving something big, at least another 1 to 2 big hits aside from Breath of the Wild. Like, if we got a new Kirby game or something, or a Smash 4 port even, that would be a pretty big deal. Or maybe they'll announce that GameCube Virtual Console will be happening. They didn't talk about really Virtual Console at all. So if they announce a few really good GameCube Virtual Console games coming on launch, like Melee or Sunshine or Double Dash or something along the lines of that, that could really help the system as well. But as of right now, I'm not liking this list. It's not very big. And I mean, we are getting other games throughout the year, but the launch has got to start strong. What else is really worrisome and also quite surprising is the prices of the accessories. Now, a lot of these prices, I kind of expected the Pro Controller, I believe that is $70. I kind of expected that one to be a little spendy because it has all of that technology in it. But things like the dock are $90. Buying a separate dock, $90? I don't understand why that costs so much. There must be something in it that we don't know about that makes it worth a lot, or maybe Nintendo's being greedy. I don't really know. But let's just really quick look at some of the other accessories. Just buying one Joy-Con, just the left or right one, $49.99. Again, these are very high-tech controllers, but still $50 for one half of a controller. And then if you want to buy the two at once, a left and a right one at the same time, is $79.99. And even the charging grip, the Joy-Con grip, if you want a second one of those, that's $29.99 for a charging grip. That really sounds like a lot. Now, I'm sure the prices are going to drop over time for all of these things, but to start at such high prices is a little baffling to me, especially the dock. I do not understand why that costs $90, and that really worries me because Nintendo even confirmed on their website that you can buy additional docks, hook them up around your house, and just have one Switch console and essentially play Switch on multiple different TVs. But if the docks are going to cost $90, like, what's the point? Like, nobody's going to buy additional docks for $90. I'd rather just take 5 minutes out of my day. If I need to move my dock to another TV, I'll just unplug it and plug it into another TV. Who's gonna spend $90 for convenience? I mean, I'm sorry, that's just a little ridiculous. I'm also a little worried about storage issues. Now, from what we know, there's going to be 32 gigabytes of internal storage, and they said a lot of that is going to be filled up because of the OS and all that kind of jazz. Now, of course, there will be micro SD XC slots, and I believe you'll be able to have micro SD cards up to 256 gigabytes, which is okay, and considering the games are on carts, we probably won't have to worry too much about space if you're buying physically mainly. But still, it's hard to tell if we're even going to get like micro SD cards in the console itself. Are they going to give us micro SD cards in the actual package, or do we have to buy them separately? If we have to buy them separately, well, honestly, that's just going to suck, because I'd rather not do that. Like, even if they give us a micro SD card that has like 64 gigabytes or 120 gigabytes or something like that in the console to start, I'd really like to see them do that instead. But again, it's hard to tell what exactly is going to take up space on this console. Like, are they going to be depending on us to buy mainly physical copies of games, or is it going to be a lot of digital copies? Because if we're going to be buying mainly digital copies of Switch games, considering this is a handheld and people are going to want digital copies of games instead of carrying their cartridges around, that's really worrisome because, you know, obviously games are getting bigger and bigger. And to see that the internal has 32 gigabytes and that we can only store things on micro SD cards, I really worry that people are going to run out of space over time. I mean, the Xbox One, as an example, has 1 terabyte of space. And that's a very good amount. That allows people to buy a lot of digital games, not worry about running out of space. And let's talk about the battery life. Oh man, 2.5 to 6 hours? Oh gosh, that's not good. And they said that you can play Breath of the Wild for about 3 hours on a single charge. Now, for people that are going to take their Switch on the go, this sounds like something that's going to be pretty problematic. Now, thankfully, like we talked about earlier, USB-C will be used for charging, so it'll be pretty easy to bring your cables, your charging cables, anywhere on the go. So if you're like at someone's house and you're playing just on the handheld, you should be able to plug it in somewhere pretty easily. But the fact that the charging is so little really, really worries me. I really wish that the overall charging length, the overall battery life would be about 6 to 12 hours. I think that would be much more accessible to people. But for me personally, it's probably not going to bother me because I'm mainly going to be playing games in the dock itself. And if I am playing on handheld, it's going to be at home because I usually don't take my games outside of my house. I don't want them to get damaged because I'd probably damage them if I removed that stuff from the house. But anyway, still, it's not a good battery life. And now let's talk a little bit about the online. So Nintendo has made the step to improve their online services, but there are a few worrying things. First off is that voice chat is mobile only. So to connect your Nintendo Switch to online, you have to connect it with your mobile device's Wi-Fi, which, okay, I guess that's not too bad. I guess that's another thing I'm worried about. Is there going to be a way to connect to Ethernet through the dock? I hope there is. But anyway, back to just the Wi-Fi. The thing is, why isn't the online service through the tablet itself? I think it's really weird that if we want to talk to people, we have to do it through their mobile app. I think that itself doesn't make any sense because, I mean, why would people pay money for that when we could just use Skype or Discord? We can talk to people through our phones for free with Skype or Discord. Why should we have to pay money through their app? I think that's really, really weird. And it's hard to tell if they're even going to have dedicated servers for their games, and they're going to be charging for internet. That's a huge problem. If they aren't going to have dedicated servers, and they're going to be charging us for online, why in the hell are we paying for online this fall? Why would anyone do that? Because there has to be an advantage for us. If they're just charging us just so they can get money out of us, that is a huge mistake on them, and that will be a huge downfall for the Switch console overall. And Nintendo also gave us a little bit of information about what else you get with your online subscription. I'm going to go ahead and read this off. You can download an NES or an SNES game for free. So, okay, it's already sounds like cloud service, right? This is just one game though. One NES or one SNES game. Download it for free for a month with added online play. This is so weird to me. This sounds like they're kind of moving forward, but they're also not at all. So we can finally download games through a cloud service, but it's only one NES or SNES game, one, that you can play for free, not really because you're paying for the online service, and you get to keep it for a month. That's just so mind-boggling. Like, what are they going to do? Are they going to give Super Mario Kart online play, and then you can play it for a month and that's it? Is that what they're saying? That doesn't make any sense at all. Like, it's cool that they're going to add online play to old games, but this is so weird. Like, it doesn't feel right at all. I like that they're making the notion to finally allow us to play their virtual console titles with a cloud subscription service. But they haven't given us enough information. Maybe there's more to this. Perhaps they're saying that there's going to be specific games that for online, maybe it's just the online play for NES or SNES games that will be free for a month, but you can still download other Nintendo eShop titles with the subscription service or without. It's really hard to tell. We did not get very much information on online features. We're just going to have to wait and see what else comes out. But as of right now, it sounds like a lot of crap, and it sounds like something I'm really not that willing to pay for. And I guess the last thing I'll mention is that the Nintendo Switch could potentially be understocked. Now, we've been told that the Nintendo Switch will not have the same problems that the NES Classic Edition had. Unfortunately, with Nintendo's history, though, we've seen a lot of amiibo shortages the past couple of years. Of course, the NES Classic Edition, it's like impossible to get your hands on that thing. And what we know so far is that GameStop, well, just the GameStop store, is only going to be getting 2 million Switches in the first month. So if this thing ends up selling really, really well, they're only going to be able to get 2 million sold from GameStop within the first month. And that's, remember, March 3rd, that's only 2 million for the whole month just for GameStop. But again, of course, there's several other retailers we'll be able to purchase a Switch from, so this might not be a problem. But again, I'm still a little concerned seeing how poorly they handled the NES Classic Edition, so hopefully that's not a problem. Alright, so that's pretty much it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Feel free to leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed this. Leave a comment. Let me know, what are you feeling about the Switch? Are you really excited about it like I am? Or are there a lot of things you're worried about? Do you think it's going to fail? Let me know in the comments. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I will see you soon.